You've probably tried a sport before, maybe more than one. A little risk, a little adrenaline, nothing too serious. These five are not that. Would you stand still and take a full force slap to the face? No way to flinch, no way to defend yourself. Could you hold on, with just one hand, to an animal that hits harder than a heavyweight boxer? How calm could you stay down there? Solid rock above your head. No way straight up. Five sports, all real. Not staged. Not exaggerated for the camera. Someone is doing one of them right now, and at least one of them has sent someone to a hospital this week. On paper, this looks like the simplest fight there is. Two people, no weapons, no takedowns, just wait. It's called slap fighting. Two competitors stand across a narrow podium. One slaps, as hard as physically possible. Open hand, full swing. The other isn't allowed to move. No blocking, no flinching, no stepping back. Flinch and you lose the round. There's no headgear, no mouthguard requirement, no padding anywhere on the body. Competitors aren't even allowed to brace their jaw beforehand. In 2024, researchers at the University of Pittsburgh studied this sport. For the first time ever, they reviewed 78 matches, 333 slaps. Nearly 80% of fighters showed visible signs of a concussion. Some showed signs more than once. In the same night, doctors have a name for one of the reflexes they watched for. It's called the fencing posture, arms locked at strange angles. A sign the brain just got rattled. It's the same reflex doctors look for on a football field. In 2021, a slap fighter named Artur Walczak took a hit. It caused a bleed inside his skull. He never recovered. He passed away weeks later. The sport didn't pause for long after that, and still, every year it keeps growing. More matches, more views, more slaps. This sport didn't need to invent a new way to fight. It just stopped pretending the other ones were separate. It's called mixed martial arts, MMA for short, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. Mixed martial arts borrows from all five. At the same time, the unified rules weren't put in place until 2001. Before that, the sport had almost no rulebook at all. A fighter can be thrown, kicked, punched, and choked in the same exchange. There's rarely a quiet round. One study found something most fans don't expect. About 1 in 3 professional matches ends in a knockout or a stoppage. That's a higher rate than boxing, higher than the numbers reported in football and hockey too. Over 90% of serious MMA injuries happen to the head. Most fans don't expect this part. Grappling isn't the safe option. Brazilian jiu-jitsu shows concussion signs in about a quarter of athletes studied. Wrestling isn't far behind, at nearly 20%. There's no striking required for a brain injury. A bad landing works too. A skull hitting the mat doesn't ask what discipline you're trained in. Fighters who lose a match are far more likely to walk away concussed. Winners rarely are. The sport didn't get safer as it got more popular. It got more studied, which is a different thing entirely. What does it take to beat an animal 8 times your body weight? Apparently, one hand in 8 seconds. Welcome to bull riding. The rider grips a braided rope wrapped around the bull's body. It isn't tied to anything. Grip strength is the only thing keeping the rider on. If the grip fails for even a second, the ride is over. The free hand can't touch the bull, or the rope, or the rider's own body. Touch anything, and the ride doesn't count. Researchers measured the force in a bull's kick, 106 kilonewtons, from the hind legs alone. An Olympic boxer's straight punch lands at around 3 kilonewtons. That's roughly 30 times less force than a single kick. The average time a rider actually spends on the animal is around 80 seconds, counting the mount, the ride, and the scramble to get clear. Per hour of exposure, that's a higher injury rate than amateur boxing, higher than rugby, higher than nearly every sport ever measured this way. Professional bull riding sees 1 to 3 deaths most years, about 20 total since the late 1980s. Riders know the number. They climb on anyway. Every breath down here is already counted. There's no skipping to the surface, just solid rock straight up. This is cave diving. Open water diving has one universal rule. If something goes wrong, go up. Cave diving removes that option completely. Above the diver, rock, sometimes for miles in every direction. Divers follow something called the rule of thirds. 1/3 of your air gets you in, 1/3 gets you out. The last third stays untouched, in case something goes wrong. It almost always does, eventually, for someone. A continuous guideline runs from the entrance to wherever the diver is. Lose that line in the dark, and finding the way out becomes a guess. A single kicked up cloud of silt can erase visibility completely. Around 30 meters down, a diver burns through air twice as fast. Faster breathing, faster countdown. Same amount of rock overhead. There's no natural light down here, none at all. Just the beam from a single dive light and whatever it doesn't reach. Equipment failure, lost lines, and panic are the three most common causes of trouble. Panic is the one training can't fully remove. Even experienced divers describe the same moment. Line gone, light dimming, heartbeat suddenly loud. On average, cave diving claims about one life for every few thousand dives. Low odds until you're the one doing the counting. Picture lying flat on your back, inches off the pavement, no engine, no brakes, just a hill and gravity. They call it street luge. Riders lie supine on a board barely off the ground. Feet first, head tucked, arms pinned to their sides. Top speeds regularly pass 70 miles an hour on open roads with nothing between the rider and the asphalt but a thin suit. The world record sits at just under 102 miles an hour, set in 2016 by an American rider named Mike McIntyre. He crashed hard right after crossing the line. He spent that night in a hospital. Mechanical brakes are banned in this sport completely. Riders slow down using their boots, or they don't slow down at all. Course designers plan long, open runoff areas for exactly that reason. The boards themselves weigh around 14 kilograms, built low and flat specifically to avoid high-speed wobble. Riders wear leather from neck to ankle, plus a full hard-shell helmet. It's the closest thing to motorcycle gear in a sport with no motorcycle. There's no engine to blame if something goes wrong out there, only gravity and the rider's own judgment. In the 70s, the very first official races were shut down. Too many injuries. To riders and to people just watching, it has never been an Olympic sport. Officially, it's considered too dangerous to sanction. 5 sports: a fight with no defense allowed, a combat style with nowhere left to hide, a ride against an animal that could end things in one kick, a dive where the only way out is the way you remember coming in, and a board with no brakes, aimed straight down a hill. None of these are accidents waiting to happen. People train for years to do them properly, and they still get hurt, often, sometimes badly. That's not a flaw in these sports. It's the whole appeal for the people who choose them. The risk isn't a side effect, it's the entire point. Take it away, and most of these stop being interesting at all. You don't have to understand it. You just have to admit you'll probably never find out for yourself. And if you made it this far, I'm guessing you liked what you saw. For more of this, hit subscribe. You know where the button is.